Welcome back, guys, to the League Wannabe Studs Week 1 matchup video.
We have a special guest today. It's Trevor Coulter, rocking his Odell jersey, and I got my Patriots Tom Brady jersey. So Steve's the only one deciding not to be a team player for his team.
The Jimmy Garoppolo jersey is in the mail, guys.
It was just too handsome. I couldn't handle it.
Alright, he's the manager for Wannabe Winners, and he's going to have a little bit of commentary on his team, especially this week, and chiming in every now and then on the other matchups that we're going to do.
Alright, so the first matchup...
Little side note here, guys. Before the season, me and Kyle, co-commissioner, decided we're going to have two divisions, one for each of us, and we're each going to bring our own guys into the league. And unfortunately for this week, we don't have any, but anytime there's an interdivision matchup, we're going to be competing against it for the end of the season to see who picked the better players for the league. Unfortunately, we don't have any this week. Hopefully next week we can come back with some good matchups for you guys.
When I win.
So here's my biggest question. I've known both of you guys for like 10-ish years. You pretty much my entire life. Who actually chose me? Who got this?
We fought over who got you in a way that we wanted the other person to have you.
Good to know that I wasn't wanted by either of you, but forced to.
I thought I could get the most amount of people, so that's what convinced Steve to take you.
Oh, he just doesn't have any friends. All right, I'll take that answer.
So Trevor's in my division, and when we get to the weeks, we'll let you guys know who's in each division. If you go to the Yahoo Fantasy site that the league is on, you can see the divisions for yourself, and you'll see who's going to play who every week. Alright, the first matchup that we're going into is the Deflatriots versus Cody's Choice team. Again, Cody, pick a team name. It's going to get boring saying that name every week.
Ooh. Alright, so what we're going to really do, we're going to go through and give our commentary and our ideas. We're going to specifically talk about two different players because we want to keep it short and sweet, but we also want to give a little bit more deeper insights for the week. So the two players I decided to talk about for the Deflatriots, the first one is Rob Gronkowski. This game versus the Texans is going to be a shootout. There's going to be tons of points scored, and everybody knows that Tom Brady always looks at Gronk in the end zone or when he's feeling like he has a lot of pressure bearing down his neck. So I'd say look to Tom Brady to not only have a ton of points in the end zone, but a ton of receptions because the Texans are just going to get after Brady as much as possible, and he's going to want to get to the safe guy. So I think he'll have a lot of points, and I think it'll be a really good week for him. You want to do your first guy?
Yep, I gotta agree with Kyle on Gronk. Always a big player for Brady. Always big on points, especially in shootouts like that.
What do you think, Trev?
Definitely a big game for Gronk. I'm actually excited to see if Watson's the same as last year.
Oh, me too.
All right, Alfred Morris starting for the San Francisco 49ers this week with that Jerick McKinnon ACL tear being out for the season. Alfred Morris is a starter, but this is a PPR league, guys, and the backup, who's going to be the backup for McKinnon anyways, Matt Breida, look to him to get some points and take some carries away from Morris later in the game. Good start, but just be careful and watch. That way later in the season you're not too worried about it.
They're playing the Vikings, which is potentially one of the best defenses in the league, comparable to Jacksonville. I just don't expect them to, one, have enough points to have a game script where they're going to have to run a lot, or two, be able to even get that many yards per carry. I just don't see a point where Alfred Morris is really worth, the start. But I don't see anybody else worth the start on this depth chart. So I think it's going to be a tough week with very little points for Morris. So it's kind of a weak start, but you don't have anybody else.
No, it's true, but hopefully he'll get some points for you. Now your quarterback, Big Ben, he's playing Cleveland. Always worth the play, because Cleveland's defense hasn't been good the last few years. Big Ben, the big downside this week is Le'Veon Bell not being there, which means although he's going to get more passing because you're not giving the ball, you're not going to catch the ball a lot either. I think any points is going to come from Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, but Cleveland knows this is coming in. They're going to cover him. So Big Ben's either going to have a huge week or a bust week. That's how I see it.
I mean, everybody knows about the idea that when Big Ben's on the road, he just does not perform as well. And everybody's worried that the Steelers as a whole just won't score as many points. But data and analytics show that I think the difference between points scored when Le'Veon plays and doesn't play is like less than a 1 point average. So he doesn't make a huge difference in points overall. But he will lose the targets to the running back, which are huge for him because sometimes he'll just pass to Le'Veon for a dump and it'll get big points. Trevor, thoughts?
I don't know. I've never been a huge Ben person.
Well,
my second guy is Jarvis Landry. This will be really cool. We'll finally get to see how he really fits in this offense. He has fantastic hands. We know that. And also, Josh Gordon's not going to start. He is going to play, but he's not going to start. So that just means more targets for him. So I'm interested to see how it goes.
all right. Now, Cody, the guys for you that I have are Mike Evans and Alex Collins. Mike Evans, Jameis Winston's not playing this week, so I'm actually more confident with having Mike Evans in your starting lineup. He's going to be the veteran guy on that field, and they're going to look to him a lot in the passing game. And Alex Collins is playing against Buffalo Bills. Look for him to have a huge game against a defense that's really not up to par this year.
The defense is okay, but they're going to have a terrible quarterback who's known for throwing interceptions. So it's just going to be time and time again he's going to get a chance to run. And I don't think it's going to be a fair game at all. So they're just going to look to Collins to just run the clock out, which means yards and points. All right. One of my top guys I'm looking at for you, Cody, is Golden Tate. The Lions are facing the Jets. They don't have anything on defense to really sustain them. And Golden Tate is their first look, especially in a PPR format. I don't expect they're going to be able to really control him. There's tons of targets on the field between Galladay and Marvin Jones also. So I just think there's going to be a ton of opportunities for him to get a lot of receptions and a lot of points. And they're just going to run up points on him.
Yeah, Darrelle Revis retired, right?
Revis Island is going, yeah.
Unfortunately for the Jets, he is out.
Yeah, so Golden Tate, you're good.
All right, this week I got to give it to Cody to beat up on Deflatriots just because he's got a lot of good matchups going into it. And Big Ben being on the road, like Kyle said, it doesn't bode too well. So, Cody, it's looking good for you. Make sure you're watching the games tomorrow.
I'm going to give this one to Cody, too. Ryan, Deflatriots, you just have so many players that are boom or bust, and I don't expect that many of them to go off this week. And you're not going to have any real safety to make up points that you're going to lose from these other guys that aren't going to go off. So, Cody, it's all you. What do you think, Trev?
As far as win or lose, I'm not really sure, but who I'm most excited to see on either of these teams is actually Kirk Cousins and how he does in the Vikings. I'm pretty excited to see how he does. I am too.
There. He's got Diggs, he's got Cook, he's got Thielen.
Yeah.
He's got a team behind him and a good defense to support it. So, all right, I like that too.
Yeah, thanks, Trevor. All right, next matchup we're going into is Parziale versus Tyler's team. Both of you guys, again, a little bit of name change, come up with something better, but it's not that bad. All right, Parziale, guys, I got looking at you, Brandon Cooks and Jordan Wilkins. Now, Cooks has had amazing seasons these last 2 years, coming off the Saints and Patriots, but playing for the Rams with Jared Goff, this is really the game to see how he does. I think he's going to be a good target for him this year. He's going to have a lot of looks, a lot of touchdowns, but I don't know about early in the season like this when there's still no chemistry there.
New guys always, take a little bit to learn the offense even through the preseason. So I think that entire team has to click a little bit, and he has to click with it. So a learning curve, but I think he can do it.
Now the other guy, Jordan Wilkins, running back. You have Le'Veon Bell on your team. He's not going to be there. So I think just starting Jordan Wilkins, who's a starting running back for Indianapolis this week, is going to be huge. Make sure you put him in before tomorrow's games.
The person Parziale I'm looking for you is Le'Veon again, just because you need to change that out. Make sure he's not starting for you. And then LaShawn McCoy. This Ravens defense, I wouldn't say it's top tier, but it's good. And you have a really bad quarterback who's in turnover time and time again. They'll give him the ball a ton, but their defensive line's going to stop him. I don't think he's going to get much points or even much goal line opportunity. So I just don't see much value in starting him. There's other players as your flex that you could start instead of him. So you might want to look at your lineup and look inside yourself and see if it's really worth it. What do you think, Jeff?
I don't know. McCoy hasn't been what he has in the past 2 seasons or so. Ever since going to the Bills, it's just, I don't know, the Bills need work in general.
Oh, yeah.
I feel sorry for Kelvin Benjamin, too. I liked him a lot on the Panthers.
Good point. Yeah, I don't know about McCoy. I think boomer bust kind of guy, especially since he's the only one on that offense. But I do agree, he's probably not going to get the numbers this game that you're used to seeing out of him. All right, Tyler's team. Tyler, the guys I have for you are Matt Stafford and Pierre Garçon. Guys that are honestly big question marks for me because they're boomer bust guys. Stafford's a great, consistent quarterback, but he's never been a hot start. He's always put up good numbers beginning of the season, but he's never had that huge game. And I think that's something that you want out of him to start the season. And Pierre Garçon's the number 2 in San Francisco behind Marquise Goodwin. Look for him to get a few looks, but not as many as you probably want in your starting lineup.
A good point, though, to bring up is Pierre Garçon is probably going to be seen as the number 2 guy, and so he's not going to be shadowed by Xavier Rhodes, which is always huge. So he may be looked at even more after this game, because when you don't have Xavier Rhodes on you, it looks a lot better. But the one of the top guys I'm looking at for you is Fournette. This Jacksonville versus New York game is going to be a great game. And they use Fournette like it's their bread and butter. Yeah. So anytime they're in the goal line or they're in a situation, they're going to go to him just constantly. He could have multiple touchdowns this game. It would not surprise me. I do suspect they're going to just look at him as the strongest part. And also Kenyon Drake. This game is really going to be the biggest part where you can see if Adam Gase is true to what he says about Kenyon Drake. He said that he's going to try to just run the offense through him and just give him opportunity after opportunity. And so if you give him as many opportunities as he really says he's going to, he could have a lot of points. But this will be the game. We'll find out if he's going to back up what he says. Any ideas?
As far as the Giants and Jags game, I'm really excited to see Fournette and how he compares with Barkley. And then I'm really excited to see the Odell and Ramsey matchup.
You need both, dude.
I think it's going to be a good game. For the record, I think the Giants are going to lose, sadly. But I'm excited to see Fournette play.
Batman versus the Joker.
All right, what do you think about this matchup? Who's going to take it this week?
Looking at it, really, I'm thinking that Tyler's team has this. He just has better running backs in general, and I'm liking these wide receivers a little bit better too. So I really feel like Tyler's team has this.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Kyle. I think Tyler's team is just a little bit better this week. Steve Parziale, put your defense in. It's on your bench right now. I know you switched it out during the week, and it's probably just the free agency put it on your bench, but make sure you start him before tomorrow's game. You don't want to lose points that could potentially put you over the top. All right. Next matchup, Drew 2 versus Dak Street's back. So in this one, I've got, for Drew 2, Deshaun Watson and Duke Johnson Jr. Deshaun Watson's coming back off of injury, and he's going to be in a shootout against Tom Brady and the Patriots in New England. And I think, like Kyle said earlier, this is going to be a huge game for both quarterbacks. They're going to put up huge numbers, and I think it's a great play starting Deshaun Watson here. Even though the Patriots are a great team, when they get in shootouts, it's all hands on deck. Duke Johnson playing behind Carlos Hyde in Cleveland, and unfortunately, it takes away a lot from him. He's a really good running back, but look for him on third down situations and passing downs because he's definitely got the better hands than Carlos Hyde does.
I agree with that one for sure. People I'm looking at for your team is Keenan Allen. Kansas City doesn't really have a great defense, and Keenan Allen's a great threat downfield. Phillip Rivers is really consistent and loves to target him when he's healthy, and obviously he's healthy week 1, so just fire him up. He's going to get you a ton of points. I do believe that. Then Joe Mixon. I don't believe the Colts are ready to face a team with Joe Mixon on it. He's an insane value. He's a great running back. He was drafted not as high as he was valued because of some off-field things that happened with him. So he's a first-round talent that wasn't valued like that. And they're also throwing him, in the slot sometimes, and they're throwing to him a lot. You can tell they plan to just, run this offense through him and AJ Green. And with that dual threat, I don't think they'll know what's going to hit them. So I think he's going to get, at least a touchdown and several yards. Any comments?
I'm pretty interested to see Joe Mixon. Yeah,
you got it.
I'm really waiting to see him explode. Last season, I don't know, the games that I watched, the Bengals itself just like never really clicked last year, and that's a player who I really wanted to see, boom, really, really explode. That I don't think I've seen yet.
All right. So Dak Street's back, Jake. Obviously we've talked about it a lot. We're marking all these players from the Texans and the Patriots that are the top receivers or the quarterbacks. Again, DeAndre Hopkins interests me this year. I think he's the #1 option for that team, and he just has hands of gold. So if anybody's going to get end zone looks, it's going to be him first, and I think he could end up with more than one touchdown again. Then Stephon Diggs. San Francisco's cornerbacks aren't amazing, besides Josh Norman. But I don't think that Norman will be able to keep up with Diggs. I do believe that Diggs is actually superstar quality, that when given the opportunity, he could literally be as good as A.J. Green or DeAndre Hopkins.
Just remember, Richard Sherman's now in San Francisco too.
That's
So you got to be careful because he's not always been a speed cornerback, but he's always been one of the top cornerbacks in the league. So,
I just feel like Stephon Diggs better. Don't at me.
All right, for you, I've got Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham. Drew Brees, I love this play because he's going against Tampa Bay. With Jameis Winston suspended, Tampa Bay's offense might not click this week, meaning that the Saints will have the ball a lot more, giving Drew Brees a lot more opportunity to put some huge yards up and throw a few more touchdowns. Jimmy Graham in Green Bay, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers has never been huge throwing to his tight ends, but given a talent like Jimmy Graham...
And no Jordan Nelson.
And no Jordy Nelson this year. But with Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Jamal Williams out of the backfield, Jimmy Graham's still trying to desperately look for some opportunity here. But look for him to really get targeted in the red zone more than anywhere else on the field, especially against the Chicago defense, whose line is very good this year.
Khalil Mack.
So for me, this week, I'm going to say Dak Street's back is going to take it. With Drew Brees and DeAndre Hopkins there, I think they're going to put up some huge numbers and give you the win this week.
I'm going to disagree with that. Mainly because, Dak Street's back just does not have the running backs to support it. J.J. and Tevin Coleman, I just can't see it. Not to mention that Drew, too, has Deshaun Watson, so any points that DeAndre Hopkins gets, DeAndre Hopkins is going to give some of those points back to Drew, too, through Watkins. So the wide receivers are great on this team, and the running backs are fantastic also. I don't see a chance for Dak Street's back.
So actually, I was thinking Dak Street's back until you mentioned that anything that DeAndre Hopkins gets, it's from Watson. Yeah, I'm going to give it Drew, too.
That's a very good point. Just remember, guys, that touchdowns for wide receivers are worth 6, and they're only worth 4 for quarterbacks. So those 2 points, if DeAndre Hopkins gets multiple touchdowns, could actually come into play instead of only 1. So
which actually I think he will. I think he can well get more than 1.
I get to them myself too. Yeah, I definitely.
So if he gets 2-3 touchdowns, maybe those extra 2 points do make a difference. But you do have a very good point. But I still got to give it to Dak Street's back personally. We'll see. All right, next matchup is we're talking about my team now, Pokemon Creef versus One Ball Wonder, Drew Hanks. Now, to highlight my team first, I want to highlight Saquon Barkley and Kenny Stills. So Saquon Barkley is a rookie on the Giants this year, but he had a huge career at Penn State, was the number 2 draft pick this year, and is looking like he's going to be one of the top options this year for the Giants, along with Odell Beckham. And I think being a rookie, I'm hoping he has a season like Ezekiel Elliott where he just breaks out. But given how questionable the Giants have been these last few years,
Stop talking. Stop mentioning the dark.
Well, it's true, guys. It's been a question these last few years, but hopefully having Saquon there and having all the weapons back will prove a good option for him. And Kenny Stills is now the number 1 option in Miami with all the injuries and everything, and he playing the Tennessee Titans, whose defense is not bad, but their cornerbacks and safeties haven't been great these last few seasons.
They got a cornerback from the Patriots.
They did, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. I think he's going to have a breakout week this week. He's going to put up a couple yards, a couple catches, and at least one touchdown for me.
Trevor, any mentions on that?
Especially Saquon?
Yeah.
I think Saquon's going to be the number 1 running back this season.
Well, he's a Giants fan. He's obligated to say it.
Maybe, I mean, that would happen if they pulled an Ezekiel Elliott. They just can't game script against him. They don't know how he runs.
Guys, you need to keep in mind that Eli Manning can't throw anymore, so they can only move the ball by running.
You heard it here from a Giants fan.
Yes.
So, Steve, on your team, I wanted to talk about Amari Cooper, who I love this year. He's facing the Rams, so I don't think he'll be able to, go crazy, because he's going to have, one of those mercenaries they signed this year on him, and so he's not going to, go anywhere without being shadowed pretty hard. And then Greg Olsen, I don't think he's playing this week. He was listed questionable, so he might not even be playing, so you might want to look for a backup. Who's your backup?
Right now I have Jared Cook. I have been looking into free agency to pick someone up, so we'll see what happens. If not, I do have Jared Cook, who against the Rams, like you said, is going to be tough, but I mean, that's hard. It's hard having my starting one of the top tight ends in the league not play.
Well, despite this, I do still have you winning. I almost crossed you out to put the other team, but I looked back at it, and I can't not have you win because I just do feel your team's better.
You got paid off.
Yeah, I made some money.
Ball.
I see Marquise Goodwin under bench, so you can put that in, and I think that'll still be a good play. I think you got this. Trevor, I know what he's going to pick probably.
Because Saquon's on your team, so
You got to give it to me.
These biased picks.
Saquon's going to put up 30 points this week against the Jaguars.
Oh, okay, I'll make you a bet right now, on camera right now if you want. I'll make you a $5 bet, nice and simple.
I can't make a bet because I'm drunk.
He's had 2.
Actually,
This is unopened.
It's still
Unopened, guys.
Still,
Priority points. That was your choice. That was your choice.
How about like 22? 22 points.
25.
Oh, jeez, guys, we got some live gambling going on.
23.
24.
Alright.
Alright, 24!
I don't know
$5
what
bet.
We got a
$5
ton
bet.
of witnesses, hopefully.
At least 2.
I think you're definitely...
Alright, one ball wonder. The guys I wanted to highlight for you. Brady and Melvin Gordon. Tom Brady, we've been saying it all night. Huge game against the Texans. Shootout, look for him to get tons of points. Good play.
I think
Melvin Gordon on the Chargers. He's playing Kansas City, whose defense has been okay these last few seasons, and he had a huge year last year. So I'm expecting him to have another breakout game, and I'm scared of playing against that. How rude. They're talking behind me. But
Steve sucks.
We're writing out the contract for a bet. Jesus Christ.
all right. But Melvin Gordon, Tom Brady, 2 good picks, Drew, for the week. I'm scared.
Alright, one ball wonder. Drew. Josh Gordon's not starting. He is playing, they say. But he's not starting, which means less volume, less opportunity. He's a great, player, and he's hard to play against, but if he's not going to be starting and given as much volume, it just leads to less opportunity. So I don't think he's startable this week. So I, replace him. I do see, you have Michael Gallup or Cole Beasley. So choose your favorite player from the Cowboys and just roll with them, I guess.
Cole Beasley is Dak's favorite target, no denying that.
Those are Steve's.
Yeah, right.
I tried to draft Cole Beasley in 7 leagues, didn't get him in 1.
Jamal Williams. There's no denying that the Bears line now has Khalil Mack, and he's going to be able to run against that. So I wouldn't be so hyped on being able to play him this week. You don't have many other options. So good luck. I'd maybe even start Jamal Williams and just pray. Trevor, any ideas?
I like the Tom Brady.
Yes.
Did a Giants fan just say he likes Tom Brady?
You can respect the GOAT.
Alright. Alright, guys.
Unbiased opinion.
You just picked
Saquon's-
Steve's team because
yeah.
he's Saquon.
Unbiased, guys. That's the real definition right there.
You just made a $5 bet
Hey,
because you
it's
love Saquon.
It's a fact. Saquon's gonna be the best running back this season. It's
Is
fact.
that a fact?
It's a fact.
Well, we got to record it, guys. So, like we said before, I got to give it to myself. If I don't, then I really think the other team's good. Kyle gave it to me, and Trevor gave it to me because of Saquon. So, let's see if Drew can pull off the upset this week.
Good luck. Please do.
Yeah, because as much as I love Saquon, I want this kid to lose.
Oh, well. All right, next we're going to talk about Kyle's team, Carry On My Wayward Son, and the guy that we both ranked as number 1 after the draft, Brian with Discount Double Check. Kyle, the guys I want to highlight for you are Keelan Cole and David Johnson. Now, first, David Johnson just signed an extension on his contract, so
Hours ago.
they're going to have a huge workload for him. They're confident in the guy. They're happy he's there, and they're going to reward him by giving him the ball a lot. He's going to score. He's going to produce huge numbers this week. And he's in a great state of mind. Great start. Keelan Cole for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look for him to get a lot of volume now that he's in the first-team offense and one of their better receivers. But also be careful. He hasn't been part of this offense before, and Blake Bortles might not feel comfortable throwing to him yet, especially since they're playing the Giants. Oh, well, never mind, guys. They're going to throw all over the Giants.
I want to highlight this is not Keelan Cole's first year.
It's not his first
second year.
It's his second year, but he wasn't a starter last year.
He was in the last 3 games, where he had, I think, 2 games for 2 touchdowns. And he was targeted the top for those 3 weeks that he was a starter. So take the L.
All right, guys. Well,
anyways, for my team, I want to talk about 2 players I actually think will not perform as well as they can. Russell Wilson, playing against the Broncos. They didn't look so hot last year because they just didn't have a quarterback to support them. But, they were quietly a very decent defense still. They just didn't have the chance to do anything with it. There's stats to prove that, they still held teams to less yardage. They just got so many more attempts, and they just so many turnovers created less opportunity for them to score themselves. So I think Russ will not do amazing this week. I'll still play him because he's Russ. You just don't not play him. But I don't think he'll do amazing. And then Jordan Howard. I think this Green Bay defense is actually better than they look. And I think running against them will be a little bit harder than anybody suspects. And I don't think the Bears will run up any points on them to game script towards, a heavy run offense. So I think he'll do okay, maybe a touchdown, but I don't see him exploding this week.
I got to agree with Kyle. They both have tough matchups, even though they're great players. They're going to produce a little less than everyone expects.
On Brian's side, the players I want to talk about is Allen Robinson for the same reasons before. I just don't see how they score too hard against this Green Bay, but maybe a little bit better than Jordan Howard because due to the fact that they won't be up in points, they're going to throw a little bit more. And then also Zeke, he's going against Carolina. I think Carolina's okay, but they're just going to run this offense through Zeke, and it's going to be Zeke. It's going to be the Zeke show. So I expect him to get a lot of points, and I could see him with 2 touchdowns, and I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, the guys that I want to highlight is Alex Smith and actually the Jacksonville defense. First, Alex Smith, new quarterback in Washington. He's going against Arizona. This is a perfect chance for him to prove himself. Arizona's team is not very good this year, especially on defense. And this is going to be his opportunity to show that he can still throw, he can still work with this offense, and put up huge numbers. Now, Jacksonville's team is going to be playing against the Giants, who have Odell back, Saquon Barkley, Manning's there, still throwing, and they're going up against an offense that's actually improved a lot from last year just by the addition of Saquon, because now they're threatening all over the field. Even Evan Ingram at tight end, they've got a lot of threats all over the field. And Jacksonville's defense, although they're one of the best in the league this year, as last year, they're going to have a little bit of a tougher time this week than I think everyone is going to look for.
Trevor, what do you think? Anything that stands out on this list for you?
Actually, Alex Smith. I really wanted Alex Smith as one of my not sleeper QBs, but I guess sleeper QB in most of my leagues.
Okay.
I think Alex Smith is actually going to have a pretty good year, and I think he was kind of overlooked because of Tyreek Hill, in Kareem Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I think Alex Smith is going to have a really nice year.
All right.
All right.
On the move.
So, unfortunately, Kyle, I gotta give this one to Brian because we both picked him as number 1, and I think he's still that way this week. No moves were really made coming into the first week of matchups, which you don't normally see except for Le'Veon picking up James Conner and that kind of stuff. But I gotta give it to Brian. I think his team's gonna pull out a victory. He's got a lot of guys that have a lot of good matchups this week, except for that Jacksonville defense, which matchup could be better, but they're still gonna be very good.
You make your own destinies. When you believe you're gonna win, you're gonna win. That's why I carry on my wayward son, 1-0. Trevor.
You could tell that we didn't prepare him for this at all.
I kind of discount double check. Yeah.
Is it the value?
Well, honestly, mostly because of Chris Hogan. Although he is playing against Houston, so that's a lot of volume that could go to him. I don't know.
Shootout with Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson. Chris Hogan's only going to benefit. Great.
Yeah.
He's in my team though.
Yeah, I think you could win. I think you could win, but I think you gotta start praying, bud.
Right. Keelan Cole saved me.
We've got the last matchup for the week. We've got Matt's Majestic team, which actually, wow, we printed this off a little while ago. He changed it to Cooking with Class for Dalvin Cook.
Good name.
But the guys I wanted to highlight for him, Cooking with Class going up against Wannabe winners.
Wannabe.
So the guys I have for Cooking with Class are Odell Beckham and New England's defense. Now, Odell Beckham, obviously, back on the field, healthy, huge player, talented. He's going to get a lot of looks, especially late in the game when Jacksonville's defense is starting to lock down. They're going to look to their best player on the field to make some huge plays for him. So I can see him getting a touchdown, a huge touchdown late, and if he has one before that, that's just going to be a bonus for him this week. And New England's defense, unfortunately, like we've been saying all night, shootout with the Texans. And it's going to be tough for them to keep positive points. You might actually see them get negative points this week if you leave them in, because they're going to give up a lot of points, a lot of yards.
So, on Cooking with Class Cooking, whatever your name is.
Cooking with Class.
I first highlighted, obviously, Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be, pressured a little bit more because of the signing. But, I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers, so he's going to keep pushing down the field. The Bears' defense is good, but he has the offensive threats that I'm not really worried about it. So I think he's going to be able to just throw a lot of touchdowns. So I feel good about him in every single game, but I think that always needs to be highlighted week to week because it's just Aaron Rodgers. Dalvin Cook, I just don't think that he'll get any goal line work, and I think that's going to be Latavius Murray. So I don't look at him as being an amazing value, and I'm going to constantly highlight that until we see anything differently. So Dalvin Cook either could have a breakout game or he could just be stuffed, and that's a little bit nervous.
So one thing about Aaron Rodgers for me, with Khalil Mack on the Bears now, look for him to be pressured even more than usual. And look for him to maybe get a fumble or two if Khalil Mack gets in there and hits him hard. Especially with that shoulder that's been hurt these last few seasons. If he gets a big hit, you might see him out for the game, which unfortunately...
To that to Brian, he'll cry.
Sorry, Brian. But with Khalil Mack there, a huge hitter in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to get rid of that ball pretty quick.
Anybody on this team that sparks your interest?
Odell Beckham.
Yeah, honestly, it's Odell.
Odell,
I mean,
you think Jalen Ramsey's going to lose to him?
I mean, you kind of got to give it to the kid. It's Odell, right?
Honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow.
I think he's going to be shut down.
I'm really excited for the game, and I think it's going to be a really exciting game to watch. But I have no idea what's going to happen. Either it's going to be Odell wins or Ramsey wins. Probably a little bit of both. And then what does Saquon have to do? What does Saquon being on the team, how does that change? Who gets the ball? How much? Because we've never really had a running back, so does Odell get a lot less volume? I don't know. It's weird.
My guess is going to be the person you're going to see a ton less volume from last year is going to be Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I think that's pretty big.
I mean, who do you trust more, Saquon or Ingram?
I mean, honestly, Sterling Shepard. All of that leftover volume, I think, is going to leave Sterling Shepard to be a pretty big go-to.
Well, so your new your new head coach is known for actually throwing to the slot receiver one of the most in the entire NFL. That's how Adam Thielen became such a big hit. He went from being an okay receiver to being like one of the top 4 receivers in the league because he was targeted so much. So Sterling Shepard could be a sneak play this year.
All right, so now to highlight your team, Trevor, I've got your quarterback, Andrew Luck, and your top wide receiver, Antonio Brown. Luck is going to be very valuable this year if he can stay healthy. He's been off the field for a while, but in the preseason, he looked very good, very confident, throwing the ball well, and making a lot of good decisions. And as long as he does that, he's going to stay healthy. He's not going to take those big hits that hurt his shoulder and neck. So now, Antonio Brown, with Le'Veon out, look to him to get a lot more volume, especially in the red zone, because although James Conner is a good running back and they're starting him this week, Antonio Brown's been their reliable target and a veteran on that team, leader. Look to him to continue that on the field Sunday.
All right, Trev, let's talk about your team. So T.Y. Hilton, he was a top 5 receiver when Luck was good. So I think one of the things we're going to have to look for is how that, him coming back responses to T.Y. Hilton. Can he get back to how he was? Will he just be, how he was last year? It's going to be really interesting. That's one of the guys that I'm watching like hardest during that game, just to see, is he still the same T.Y.? Does sometimes having a bad year just really affects you mentally. You're just not, the same player. So he could be great, but I don't feel like he's going to be quite top 5. But it wouldn't surprise me if he's top 20. Doug Baldwin, he's facing that Denver defense with Russell Wilson and like no one else really besides Tyler Lockett, but I just don't trust him. I think Denver is going to be all over Doug Baldwin, swarming him, and I don't think he's going to get a ton of looks or a ton of available catches that are catchable. So I don't expect a big week for him, but I mean he's near flex, so if he finds one better, an easy switch up.
See, I kind of have to disagree with Kyle. He's the number 1 option in Seattle still. Denver's defense isn't great. They're good, but I think he's actually going to get a lot more looks than you think, and he's going to catch a lot more. He's not a bad option for Russell Wilson this week, especially if Chris Carson doesn't actually perform well in his first week as a starter. You might see Doug Baldwin get a lot more points.
All right, guys, I'm calling it week 1. Denver has a better record than the Seahawks. Call it now.
Okay, that doesn't matter for this
another
game.
$5 bet.
I'll easily make that $5 bet.
All right, so for this week, I got to give it to you, Trevor. I think you're going to beat Cooking with Class. I think you're just going to edge him out, even though Odell's going to have a big game with Aaron Rodgers there, too.
I'm going to agree. While your running backs are bad, you have some elite wide receivers. And the running backs you're facing, Dalvin Cook, I just don't see him being amazing this year while being good. And Derrick Henry, I'm having nothing in the Titans running back, so you don't have big competition there. Not to mention that Corey Davis is unproven, and then their tight end is Jack Doyle, and Jack Doyle is just splitting tight end targets. So I think you have him beat. So good luck.
Aw, thanks, guys. I just like my wide receiver wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, like we told you, you should try trading away, get some improvement in running backs, but for this week, I don't think it's going to hurt you not having a top-tier running back.
Anybody in the league that's watching, shoot some trades to Trevor if you have an available running back, because, that's what he needs, and then I'm sure you need a wide receiver since he took them all.
Because I have all of them.
So, shoot him up.
Yeah.
But
Any last comments, Trevor?
I want to be a winner.
What's your prediction? What do you think your ranking's going to be out of the 14 games?
Out of the
Yeah, 14-game season, what do you think your record is going to be?
record. Alright, I need to do math to make sure that what I say adds up to 14.
Engineer.
Yeah. Quick maths. I I do really like my team. I would be happy with the 10-4.
10-4.
10-4. He's placed
I think
himself as
most
a 1 or
people
2 seed.
would be happy with the 10-4.
I think he's placed himself 1, 2, 3 seed.
Especially after all my leagues last year, because I mean I had T.Y. Hilton and Jay Ajayi in like most of my leagues, and then it was terrible. And then I also had Odell who got injured and a bunch of injuries. I did terrible last year in every league I was in.
He also
All right.
liked to take Aaron Rodgers in like the 2nd or 3rd round.
Third round.
Leave my QB tendencies out of this.
I don't think there's a coincidence though.
If you ever draft with Trevor, expect him to be the first one to take a quarterback.
I did good in all of my drafts this year.
What, second one to take a quarterback?
No. He did good this year.
Yes, he did. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. This has been the Wannabe Studs League, and we're going to comment below what you guys think of our predictions. If you side with Kyle, side with me. If you guys have completely different predictions this week, let us know in the comments below, and we're going to put a link to the league down there too. All right, guys. See you all next week.
Oh,